I'm going to get started and introduce some people I have here. The Virtual SOLS is about member benefits and volunteer engagement. Agenda, we're going to kind of go through some of the different areas. Our presenters introduce themselves. I'm obviously Allison Hostettler. I help you with the School Activity Specialist, the section level, and all SOLS. So I thank everybody for participating. I'd introduce now Donna Edenhart, and she'll tell you a little bit about her job here.
Great. Thanks, Allison. Yes, hi, everybody. I am Donna Edenhart. I am the membership manager at SAE. I've been on board about a year and a half now. I always say I have the best job in the world, but I truly believe that. Came to SAE, just to give you a little bit of background on me, with a 20-year history of association experience. And interesting enough, I sort of started off in the automotive arena. My first job in Washington, D.C. was with the American Automobile Manufacturers Association, which was a lobbying arm for GM, Ford, and Chrysler back in the day. So very familiar with SAE International back then, and thrilled to be with them today.
And then our presenter to talk about volunteer engagement is Nicole Iracito.
Hi, everyone. My position in SAE is to oversee the volunteer aspect for our members, and in some cases our non-members. I also oversee the Fellows program, which you're not familiar, and I'm probably sure that most of you are, is the highest level of membership we have here within SAE.
Thank you. What we're going to start with is the member benefits, and then move to the volunteer engagement, and then we'll have an open forum at the end when you can ask Donna and Nicole any questions.
Okay. Well, first of all, what I wanted to do before we got started into the nitty-gritty of what membership actually offers, I thought it would be helpful to let you know that our benefits are impacted by the different levels of membership that we currently offer. At the time, we presently have 3 levels of membership. The first, which is our most popular, is Classic membership, which is only $85 per year, and in the grand scheme of what association costs are, relatively inexpensive. Premium membership is a little bit up from that. It's $160 per year, and then Elite membership is $260 per year. When I came on board, these levels were already in place, and the premise was that by offering different levels of discounts for our benefits, we could have something for everyone. To be completely honest with you, I did a breakout of what the different levels actually are, the numbers of folks that are Classic, Premium, and Elite. And just to give you an idea of whether or not this is working, and my honest opinion, it really isn't. We understand that we're probably going to move forward to something else in the future. But right now, we have just under 34,000 members that are Classic, 800 that are Premium, and about 840 that are Elite. I'm certainly not, as the kids would say, dissing our predecessors, but they tried something new. It isn't working, and we're probably going to move on from there in the future. Again, even with these different levels of membership, our members really don't pay a lot of money per year to be members of our organization. And historically, we only raise our dues on average about $3 to $5 each year for each level. So we don't like to do a huge bump. Another quick note to mention is there are additional categories, even outside of the Classic, Premium, and Elite. When a member who has been with us for 40 years celebrates his 40th anniversary, we grant him the gift of free membership. So he no longer has to, he or she, I should say, no longer has to pay dues, which is a nice little benefit, and that would be at the Classic membership rate. We also have a discounted rate for retirees. It's just $26 a year. Discounted rate for unemployed members at $49. And then just to give you a sense of what we're working on in terms of our recruitment efforts to get new, younger students, or younger members, I'm sorry, that are students to transfer from their student membership over to professional membership, we offer them the first year of dues for free. Now, additional categories, just as an FYI, are all classic memberships. Each one of these categories would have to pay for an upgrade if they wanted to be premium and elite. So anyway, I thought that would be helpful as we move along. You can better understand the different levels of discounts within each category. So at SAE, we do offer our members a multitude of benefits. One category is in professional development. We have wonderful training programs available to all our members in the form of webinars and seminars and so forth. So if you are an SAE member, you can receive different discounts on most professional PD courses. Exclusions do apply. And going back to those different level breakouts, the discount for each of these courses is based on level. So a classic member would get 10%, premium 15%, and elite would get 20%. And those percentage breakouts are pretty much standard for all of our discounts with benefits. Sometimes they vary, but on average, that's usually where the discounts come out. We also have something exclusive for members called the Professional Development Frequent Learner Program. And what this means is if you are a member and you take one professional development course at your member level discounted rate, so if you're classic, you take one course at 10% off, moving forward, you are able to take any number of additional courses throughout the year and receive an additional 20% off your member price. So classics would get 30% off the second course and so on. So that's our professional development benefits. And also offer benefits on our publications. We have free online subscriptions for professional members to both of our member-only publications. One is our Update online newsletter. Hopefully you'll receive monthly email alerts letting you know that that's available for reading. That is, again, targeted toward our professional member audience. But you also are able to access our student publication, which is Momentum Magazine. Now, Momentum is, we only do that on a 6-month cycle, and usually we stop, I think it's the end of April when the kids are out of school. But both are very good publications. They are locked down and exclusive to members only. So if you're from the general public, you would have to pay to have those. Membership also provides subscription service to up to 3 SAE award-winning magazines. So a classic member would be able to choose one of the following 3, either engineering, off-highway engineering, or NASA tech briefs. Premium members would get 2, and elite members would get all 3. It also provides free surveys and reports. We're constantly looking for new, interesting areas to report on for our members. For example, we have a very popular compensation levels for engineer surveys that we do every year. It's called the Biannual Salary Survey. Last put out in 2014. Members get it for free, and this is really popular with the general public. They have to pay $249, but any member can go online and access that for free at any time. In addition to that, we have our Engineer Employment Study for Mobility Industries that's up online and available to members, as well as various reports such as our Technology Insight reports on safety systems, fuel efficiencies, and so forth. So in addition to that, we have discounts on SAE's various books and technical papers, standards, and so forth, and with the traditional breakouts, classic gets 10% off, premium 15%, and elite gets 20%. There's a great savings, especially if your organization likes to purchase a lot of standards. That's really beneficial to have these discounts for standards. Moving on to our career development and leadership opportunities for members. We have if you're familiar with SAE's website, we have a specific area dedicated to career development. Only members are able to see advanced notice of jobs when they log in there. So an employer would come say they want to post a job on our website. As a member, you would see it 7 days in advance of everybody else. Members are able to post their resumes something new that we just developed. Members can, I'm using air quotes right now that you can't see, purchase a free code that will take your resume, if you're looking for a job, and bump it to the top. And it will stay up at the top of the list of employers for 90 days, which is a neat little thing that we offer now. We're also working on a series of soft skill webcasts, and originally, it was funny, I actually got my hand slapped a little bit from our PD folks. Originally, I was developing these for young professionals only when one of our professional development gurus reminded me that not just young professionals need reminders on, how to improve a resume and so forth. So they're topics that, again, keeping the young professionals in mind, but are applicable to anybody, anywhere in their career. Some of the topics that we're working on right now are improving your personal brand, effective communication and presentation skills, and getting along with your boss. And we're hoping to have these ready for launch in the next few months. One leadership opportunity that's important to point out is that only SAE members can serve on SAE boards. And of course, members can also serve as section officers. You should be well aware of that. Okay, moving on to our meetings and local activities. We used to, in the past, we're well aware of this. I know that members aren't completely thrilled with the change that was made several years ago. We used to, in the past, allow our members to attend our conferences for free. Prior to our team being put together, the decision was made that we could no longer afford to do that because the dues rates were so low. So what we do is we give massive discounts. I mean, it's not free, but pretty substantial discounts to all of our events. And just to show you, I'm giving an example from this past year. For our World Congress, Click members actually saved $400 a day on registration. So again, I know that's not free. Trust me, I've had the conversation internally a lot to see if we can swing the pendulum back that way. But for right now, we give you a pretty substantial discount on all of our meetings. And we also offer exclusive member-only activities at all of our congresses. I don't know if any of you were in attendance at our World Congress this year, but we sponsored for the first time only a members-only lounge that, well, I'm saying we sponsored. It was actually sponsored by two of our program partners. And we offered not only a safe haven for members to check their emails or hold personal meetings, different refreshments throughout the day. And we just got our numbers back. It was close to 1,200 members actually came and visited us at the lounge this year, so it was fairly successful. And we also, in recent history, have sponsored private company tours. We had a great tour to Argonne Laboratories in conjunction with our COMVEC meeting this past fall. And we haven't talked about this internally, but I think we may consider doing something similar for Aerotech and COMVEC again this year. And of course, as you know, all members have the opportunity to engage at the local level through SAE sections. Okay, moving on, I had mentioned our program partners, and to give you an idea of who they are. These are the folks that we work with, different outside vendors and companies that offer day-to-day services for you as an individual to help you in your daily life. Now, these program partners used to be managed outside of membership, but about 6 months ago, they moved them back under the membership umbrella. It used to be managed by our sales team. They did a great job, but it kind of makes sense for them to be back in membership because we're able to explore and do things a little bit differently, having programs a little closer to home. So offer right now to members are various business services such as executive coaching and employee development. We offer discounts on office supplies from Office Depot is one of our vendors, shipping from FedEx. Also offer various insurance services on auto, home, health, the whole gamut of insurance options. In addition to that, we have various travel and personal services, so you can get discounts on car and hotel rentals, vacations, etc. One thing I wanted to mention, we're exploring some new ones. I mentioned it was nice having these folks back within membership. The options that I am personally looking at, thinking with YPs again in mind, a student loan refinancing program. We thought that might be popular, as well as a potential cell phone plan, discounts on different data plans for cell phones, and identity theft is another one I'm considering. So, and the most important benefit that I would have mentioned, hopefully you're going to become quite familiar with it in the next few months, is a new online community that is exclusive to SAE members with one important exception. This online community will allow members to talk within their own industry sectors, and we realize that as part of those discussions, it is extremely important for our standards folks to be talking to each other. Unfortunately, not everyone who is involved in standards committees is actually an SAE member. So we are going to allow them access to this new online community. It would have to stay within the standards discussion. So what we're hoping to do is get them in there, have them talking about standards, and have them so engaged and interested that they'll want to poke around on the rest of the online community. And the only way they can do that is if they join SAE. So it would be the only exception to the rule. But this is something that we're really excited about. We're starting small. We're starting, because we want to slow build to a crescendo. So it's going to be discussions initially within the 3 industry sectors. We're going to build off and have members-only content. And you may recall this from our SOLS meeting last year in Michigan. We had talked about offering salaries for different sections. So something that's off in the future, and as is a new module that we're going to develop on volunteer opportunities, which is a nice segue into what Nicole's going to talk to you about. Anyway, it is called Member Connection. You will be seeing some information from us shortly. We hope you all get online. We hope you all get engaged, and we hope this is going to be a really great and useful tool for all of our members. And that wraps me up. So off to volunteers with Nicole.
All right, thanks, Donna. As I said earlier, I'm working on volunteer aspect of SAE members and non-members right now. So I just wanted to cover a couple things with you today, which are what are we doing to get volunteers, the areas that we are recruiting for, and really how we can help you, because obviously I know you guys are volunteers and you're always changing your board and so on and so forth, so I'm aware that you guys need help too. So to begin with, as alluded to a few minutes ago, there is going to be a volunteer module on the online community. However, there's a big however, it is not ready yet. So we have kind of come up with some intermediate measures, I want to call them, to really start recruiting new volunteers and get them engaged. So right now what we are doing is we are recruiting new volunteers through a couple of different measures. One is, I'm sure Allison has talked about it, is our CDS transfer program. So as we're going out and talking to the students who are transferring from their student membership to their professional membership, what we're asking them for is their interest in volunteering at SAE. We kind of narrow those opportunities to things that they would actually qualify for right now. So that could be reviewing a paper or volunteering again to come back to CDS or working in a STEM-related activity. And as those transfer forms are coming in, I'm recording that data. And once we transfer them, all of that information will be funneled out to the correct individuals. Also on that transfer form, we're asking them if they are interested in being engaged at the local level with a section, and that actually is a very popular option choosing. So again, we transfer these kids in July-ish over the summer. So by the time you really start to ramp up for your fall meetings, you should have a nice, strong list of people who want to be involved. Either Allison will reach out to you with those names, and you can really, these are people, again, and so they're interested in volunteering, not just being engaged at the local level, so maybe they're people that you can groom to serve on your board eventually. Another thing we've come up with is a volunteer transfer application, or form, whatever you want to call it, transfer form, a volunteer form. So what we're doing is we're asking them to give us their information. We've listed every opportunity, the majority of opportunities that are available for them to participate here at SAE, asking them to indicate where they'd like to get involved, and again, bringing that data back, recording it, and sending it to the correct people within the building. The difference between the two forms is on the bigger form, just the regular volunteer form, we've listed all opportunities, including standards, writing a book, things that probably people who are just starting a career aren't going to be eligible for, but people who are further along in their career, have a few years of experience, will be able to do. So that's another thing we're doing. Lastly, we have the traditional way of just getting volunteers, which is where they contact us. I manage a volunteer inbox. We do get people that just have happened on our site or happened on the email list, perhaps I should say, that wish to get involved. Again, I'm passing along the full list of opportunities we have here and figuring out how we can engage them. So really, I kind of see myself with volunteering as just kind of like the matchmaker in a way, matching the volunteers with the opportunities they indicated that they want to get involved in. So that's how we're getting people in. What are we recruiting for? The list that you see on your screen now, we really broke out into two separate things, which I didn't break it out on here, but I'll just talk to you about them. We have opportunities that are unique, I guess you could say, that we only need a certain amount of volunteers for, or that they're just not things that you would traditionally think maybe SAE does. The program we started was the DoD Rapid Review Team. We're recruiting for volunteers for that, but it's going to be a select few. So we probably only need maybe 24 volunteers. It's a new opportunity. We're putting it out there, and we're trying to get people involved. And that's also something we don't have a pool for, or whatever you want to call it, to pull from. These would be all new individuals meeting new criteria. So we're working on building that. Allison also, in her many roles, handles ABET, and I'm also reaching out and trying to find volunteers for her for that. And then we have there also like all the traditional volunteer opportunities, which I'm sure you're probably familiar with the majority of them. And those are the things I think people traditionally think of when they want to volunteer with SAE, whether serving on a committee or reviewing a paper or just volunteering on site at a meeting. These ones are pretty easy to funnel through. There's no really limit on how many we can get. We're always looking for volunteers to fill those positions, and that includes standards too. So that's the other thing we're recruiting for. What Allison and I have talked about is the volunteer application that I had talked about earlier. She's going to make it available to you in the officer's toolbox. One thing you could do at your meetings is put that out there. We do believe that volunteering is a way to retain our members and recruit in some cases, depending on what they want to be involved in. So it's just another tool that you guys can use if you want. So go to the next slide. Probably the biggest question is, how can this really help you guys? I think it's one of the unique things that we can do is build this relationship. We know that you guys need volunteers. So I'm kind of trying to do this twofold. I mean, especially based with experience that I've had working with you guys. What I'd like to do and put out there is, if you need board members, to let me know or let them know. And what we can do is help recruit those by really calling them out as something that we need. On the flip side of that, volunteers who are interested in being involved at the local level, I'll go ahead and turn those names over to you, and you would contact them and see how or if you want them involved on your board. That happened just yesterday. I had a PhD student, so not technically a student, a PhD student who we involved up in Ontario. So I simply forwarded the name and the contact information to the Ontario section, and they were able to make that connection, within the day. So I think it will be really beneficial to both parties to try to do that. I would just ask, I know your elections are in May, so if you know that you're meeting somebody in May, just give us a while because, not everyone's going to choose that they want to be an officer. And then I can also sort through my list and look for in your area and maybe send you those names too of people that have indicated they wanted to be involved.
No, I left. I said, they're not really. You just said, give us a while, and it's like the 20th of May.
Yeah, I know.
Really
this year,
a while left.
this year is probably going to be hard, and I understand that. But I don't want to. I haven't had this program going that long, so I'm thinking this is going to come into play next spring.
Kind of our pilot with the volunteering and everything.
It is. It's a pilot year with this whole volunteering thing, and I truly believe when the online community comes out and up, the module that I have seen will really line everything. So it'll be, I think, easier, and I think it'll be, as people log into the community, we can quickly post, Texas needs a board member type of thing. And when those come in, I can just send them off or even filter through them and then send them off, depending on what you're looking for. It's a really cool module that they have that I think will help out. But for now, it's really being done on a spreadsheet, and I just kind of started collecting the names. So I think it would have helped this year anyway, to be honest with you. But moving forward, like if you know next spring, that you have 3 or 4. This is Richard, right? Is this Richard?
Yes.
Yeah. If you know next year, like you have, I don't still know who's on your board, but it's whoever's still on your board, if some of them are rolling off, let me know, and I can put out there we need for the Texas section, and then I can also go through my list that I have and see who's in that area and maybe push those names to you too. So
that's a good idea.
Students that are graduating this year that'll be transferred that are in your area as well, we can look at.
Yeah, and there's a lot of those. I don't know how many are in your area, but there were a lot of students that indicated, like I said, that they want to be involved at the section level. I think that, again, on both sides, I think engaging those students in that first year will really lead to them with SAE as opposed to just letting them go into the void and not really reaching out to them.
Yeah, I brought three student members into our board meeting last Monday, and it was good.
Good, yeah.
There, so that looks like it's a good opportunity.
Good.
Really, all I have, my contact information on there. There's also the volunteer inbox, and I think most of you know how to get a hold of me anyway. So feel free to reach out. I help with whatever you need.
Cool.
Any questions for Donna or Nicole?
This is Ken Cinco, and I bet you're excited about the rollout of the online community, but what did you learn from Engineering Exchange that was out there a few years ago, and how will this be different from that?
Okay, that's a really good question, and I'm sorry, this is Donna again. I actually came on board when Engineer Exchange was dying a slow death, to be honest with you, so I really didn't see it in its heyday. From what I understand and from the little that I had seen, we did not have, this is the most important thing, we did not have a dedicated online community manager. I'm not, pointing fingers or whatever. It doesn't matter at this point. The bottom line is
dedicated online community. What?
Manager. There's
manager.
Okay. Exactly. It wasn't anybody's full-time job to be servicing Engineer Exchange. So that, in my opinion, was problem number one. You had staff going in there periodically. Problem number two, the main focus was on blogging. They had retained some outside vendors that were writing articles that were pretty much mainstream, more soft-skill stuff, which would be applicable across any industry, not necessarily specific to any of our sectors, just kind of general helpful information, but not terribly technical in nature. So the difference, in my opinion, the two major differences are going to be the fact that we have retained a full-time online community manager that's going to be making sure that she is keeping these technical discussions going. And by virtue of the fact that we are allowing, we want it to be or at least the most part of the discussions, to be technical in nature. So by the virtue of the fact that we are allowing all of our standards committee folks to engage, I think that's a really important difference. It's wonderful that the most part of it is going to be exclusive to members, but I think it's crucial in order for it to succeed to have these important discussions that include everybody. So, we're not excluding anybody that's going to have important feedback. The volunteer module is going to be, I think, a really neat tool that we're going to have that was not present before. That's going to get all of our other business units at SAE internally involved, invested. I can't swear to it again, I wasn't here. I don't believe they were vested before. I'm getting head shaking, yeah. They didn't really know anything about Engineer Exchange. We have built Engineer Exchange based on their feedback and their conversations. They know their particular audience. They know who they're dealing with better than we do. So we want, when I was talking about aerospace standards, we went and met with our internal expert and said, what do your folks want? What are they going to want to see? So we built it with them in mind. They're going to be a key part of the success of Member Connection. So I think that, again, and of course we're going to place a strong emphasis on content based on what I saw at the tail end of it. There were probably 12 documents on, we're already, looking for information that will help everybody, well, not everybody, obviously, but it's a little bit of an overstatement, but as many people as we possibly can. We're considering every audience and trying to get something for everybody. Maybe that's a better way of putting it. So again, this is a labor of love, not only in membership and sections, but across SAE in general, because we hope that other business units will benefit from the Member Connection as well.
Okay, one follow-up question on that, which was the old Engineers Exchange did have subgroups for the sections, and I think all the members in the section were loaded into it automatically. Someone didn't have to come in and subscribe and, opt in. Do you anticipate any sort of a section? You talked about sectors for the Member Connection, but you didn't necessarily say sections, as in Chicago section or Detroit section or something like that.
Right. Apologies. We are planning satellites for the sections in the future. That we're in phase 1 right now. I think that's either in phase 2 or phase 3. Again, knowing that we want to slowly build and get all of the wrinkles ironed out before we move on and get a little bit bigger. So to answer your question, yes, that is actually in our contract. We have contracted to have section satellites. Unfortunately, I would be lying to you if I told you when exactly that was going to happen. It is high on our radar screen. Hoping this thing is going to take off like gangbusters, and we're not going to have any technical bumps along the way. But we're going to try to deliver that to you as quickly as possible.
Okay, thank you.
Are you a beta tester for the
Yeah, I was one of the people. They contacted me with a sample question and maybe some initial impressions of it, and I'm sure I did write back saying I hope there is something for sections in this, and then put out sort of another general question about alcohol fuels in the future or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
So
and we appreciate
a beta tester of the application, and I'm wondering, is this an internal SAE IT developed application like Exchange was, or did you guys pull in a system already developed? Because it seems like it's still being there's software problems like it was when Engineer Exchange came out. The same kind of problems are there. We're
I'm not sure what you mean by software problems, but I hope you're reporting those back to the community.
Yeah, that's what one of the discussions I started on in the beta section, beta community area, was to report issues and navigation problems and improvements and opportunities like that. And that's probably one of the hottest discussion forums is that.
Right.
Finding, there's just things that are not working clean, and that's kind of what tripped up the Engineer Exchange early on, was that it just didn't function well. And I'm that we don't roll this thing out with bugs in it a lot.
Oh, right, exactly. That's why the importance of the beta testing. But to answer your question, we retained a vendor that they're called Higher Logic. This is what they do. And just to give you an example, one of their clients is SAE. So when we were going through the whole vetting process and selecting a vendor, we wanted to make sure that the skill set was there, in terms of the what they offered us as a package, as well as to ensure that there were groups out there that were already using it and it was successful. And ASAE's online community is phenomenal. So, I do feel a lot better by that, and that's a very important distinction with Engineer Exchange that I was remiss in mentioning. So we did have that, and we also have that integration between our IT staff and this vendor to ensure that there was single sign-on. So when a member goes in and logs into their SAE account, they're automatically able to get into member connection. But outside of that, like data sharing integration, it's not being managed by our IT